There's a saying out there that goes, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Now, when I first heard that line, it made me pause, think if I had any friends, but it certainly hit different because we all have friends, but not as much as this next one, which is quite similar. You are the average of the five people you spend the most time with, which seriously got me to thinking about all the people I do spend time with. And we spend time with a lot of people. And the reason being, this has an impact on our lives. Who we surround ourselves with, vitally important and impacts us deeply. So to start, if you ain't where you want to be with your life, it's not your fault. It's everyone else's. All the friends, they're really foes, especially the five closest to you. Convenient, I know. And that's just me being facetious. Half truth. But let's get into these five types of people you should absolutely avoid having in your life, assuming you want to have a healthy life. Now, for the sake of expectations and influence, because influence works, I'm going to save the worst for last. But not just to try to get you to stay, but because type 5, man, these people, just thinking about it right now, I'm becoming enraged. In my experience, these are the most heinous and destructive and unethical, non-virtuous people alive. And talking about them makes me think about them, which then makes me sick and want to get somehow emotionally violent and immature. But I digress for now. Type 1. Type 1 people to avoid. Broke people. Now, this one's going to hurt a lot because I know this is a sensitive trigger for most of us, at least those who hate the thought of being broke while staying broke, confusing that being broke only means empty pockets. However, while I do believe surrounding yourself with broke, poor, money people naturally will keep you broke, money, poor, it's just the logic. For me, type 1 people, type 1 broke people more deeply translates into the uninspired. Because aside from empty pockets, broke people totally lack ambition. They are stagnant and stasis and essentially have a sedentary spirit. They conform and do as they're told regardless of outcome with the idea of just getting by. They routinely move with low energy vibes and lack self-direction and self-reliance. There's no self-leadership, no self-empowerment, no proactiveness, nor autodidacticism. All of this translates into a broke poverty mindset because broke people lack independence and accountability. I told you it was going to hurt. They're in a state of inertia, which means who and where you see them as now is likely who and where they'll be when they die. They lack continued growth, no risks, no challenges. They are in a default status quo mode of being submissive and lazy with their life. There are no solutions because it's not enough of a problem. And that will immobilize you. Type 1, broke people. Don't do broke. I know it hurts. Type 2 people to avoid. Complainers. Complainers. For me, one complaint is one too many. In my estimation and experience, these are the greatest energy vampires because they speak and vibrate with zero, none, zilch, no gratitude for life. Folks who are constantly complaining lack humility, acceptance, compassion, empathy, and also that old accountability thing. They are presumptuous, pretentious, and entitled. It's never their fault. And they speak as if somehow life owes them something. They froth at hard work, block their creativity, resulting in a life filled with constant inactivity. Just listen to how that sounds. Wait a minute, though. It's almost like I'm complaining about complainers. I know. I know. It's just that I am super conscious about avoiding such type, the type 2 complainers, predominantly, out of fear of being affected, not with complaining, but with ungratefulness. Because the last thing I ever want a habit of is complaining about my life, and worse, doing nothing about it. Also, think of it like this. You ever try to speak gratitude and blessings about your life to a complainer? I doubt it. I doubt it. Firstly, because complainers almost never give you a chance to speak. They take up all the airtime because they have so much to complain about. And secondly, if you told them you hit the lotto, they're just going to point out that most people go broke anyway. To constantly complain, type 2 complainers will render you powerless to make a change. This absolutely sucks the life out of your soul. Stay away. Don't complain. Type 3 people to avoid. Gossipers. Gossipers. I think a gossiper is like a snitch. And where I'm from, they say the cliche line of loose lips sink ships. Kind of corny, but whatever. Now, these gossipers always have gossip or drama or perceived inside info to share, which means this is a lot of how the convo goes. Yo, you're not going to believe what I heard, but please don't repeat this to anyone. And when you hear that, I know the gossiper in you gets all excited because secretly we all like the suspense and the drama. The gossip is a little juicy, right? However, we got to avoid it because this is what this really means, amongst many, many other things. They're repeating info they shouldn't be repeating, which means they'll also repeat your info, which begs me to think, amongst many other things, what kind of front are you putting on to get people to share their info with you that you are now gossiping and snitching about? Because the reality is you shouldn't, within reason, be repeating anything anyone tells you, nor should you be saying anything to anyone that you wouldn't want repeated. Think about that. And if you are saying something to someone that shouldn't be repeated, there's already an unspoken rule. You know, like, I don't need to tell the people that I trust, that I'm about to share info with, that I don't mind being repeated, not to repeat it, because they know not to repeat it. And so as much as you want to befriend these people, these type 2 gossipers, because somehow you secretly believe you need that info, you don't. You absolutely don't. And the reality is you're much better off without it. Now, here's another point to consider. If they're not repeating gossip they've heard from someone snitching, then they are speaking and presuming what they believe to know about others. This is usually baseless and purely emotional. And why would you want that in your life? Now, if that isn't enough, because we got to go with the criteria and character traits, type 2 gossipers typically are unempathetic, envious, judgmental, drama addicted, attention seeking, and emotionally violent. Such are the blessings of the righteous, snitchy, gossiper perceptions. Damn, I'm good. Keep clear this. 3 down, 2 more to go. Type 4. Type 4. I'm going to get a little more serious because, I don't know, I feel like it. The faithless. And this is one of those soul crushing realizations that also hurt. Once again, a trigger because most of us equate faith to God, to which I ask, if you proclaim God to be the priority of faith in your life, how much faith and love do you have in your version of God, whatever that version is, to not love and protect all creation of God, which begins with you? As God saw fit to make you just as you are. And do you have so much of a problem with being as you are and what life is that you believe and have faith that God made a mistake, that God has hoodwinked you? Tread carefully with the faithless, for they perceive most behavior as fraudulent. They mismanage their identity and are external belief leeches, because you got to believe in something. Their esteem is secretly bleeding profusely from limiting and debilitating self-talk. Failure contrived from fear that they are unable to be pleased by internal beliefs, so they seek to please people pleasers, and other external means. There are no boundaries, just constant comparing and contrasting. Never once deciding to pick up the pen and write their own story, which really amounts to belief in yourself. To be faithless is to be hopeless, to which Freud powerfully stated, just as no one can be forced into belief, so no one can be forced into unbelief. Accepting the faithless will create disbelief as the faithless believes deeply in all they don't believe in. Avoid that type in your life and all those tongue twisters that come with it. Type 5, this is it. Drum roll. And I feel myself vomiting in my mouth right now, which is disgusting, because these types of people disgust me. And while I don't ever wish harm on anyone, well, the concept of hell was created for these types of reasons. In my opinion, don't judge me. I call these types of people, type 5, secret admirers, which might sound cool, and that's the point of it. But it really isn't, because these people want what you have. Sit on that. Because anyone wanting what you have makes them highly dangerous and dirty coveters. And to covet, in my opinion, is the most egregious of sins. And you don't need a book to tell you why. Now beware, because these secret admiring coveters are everywhere. The streets, the office, the block, community events, even in church. Yep. And the key here again is you have what they want, and what they want is deep and of most significance to who you are, which is your identity, because it's usually your aura, your energy, and your reputation they crave. They very much want to be you in a lot of ways because they see you in themselves. But what the world sees in you, the beautiful that you've earned, is not yet seen in them by the world. And that pains them deeply, also making them immensely dangerous to you and I. Focusing back to another key point. Don't limit or subdue their intent and coveting desires solely to material things or just the flesh, because in reality, they can't really take this from you, which is your isness, and they can't really be you, so it leaves them with one option, which is to try to break and strip from you all you have, and its effects could wreak havoc on your life. Therefore, let's pay strict attention to how they usually move. They thrive off speed and revealing of obvious self-weakness, working themselves in very carefully and looking to establish your trust, softening you with words and statements like, my bad, or I'm so sorry. This is so embarrassing. I don't know why I feel so comfortable telling you this, or I'm really only telling you this because I really feel like I could trust you, or I've never had anyone I can talk to like this. I don't usually tell anybody about these things. Yeah, bullshit. This person doesn't really trust you, doesn't care for your advice, and could give two fucks about you. They are only giving you this info to get close to you in order to get info from you about you. This is about your isness, which is really to say anything you say or do will be used against you, which is slimy to say the least, since we all eventually stumble. And while we stumble, they are patiently, anxiously, and meticulously taking notes and collecting this data so they can in turn leverage it for themselves in other relationships, presuming it'll build them up while tearing you down. Now, pay attention to what this means. They will only reveal your dirt, the insider info, because we all got dirt, or at least info they can spin as dirty, whatever makes you rationalize that. When doing so places them in someone else's good graces or perceives that they can elevate them or can break down your circle or well-established reputation and your isness, which means chances are the people worth repeating your info and dirt to are either an enemy or competition or someone who is in your way, or worse, someone who can help you grow, or the ultimate worstness and pure evil, which is why they should burn, to someone who really trusts and believes in you. And just now imagine what that's going to be like. The secret admirer is a dirty coveter who may lead you to believe they need your help, may even establish themselves as high as the right hand. It gets that deep. Wants what you have and will take it from you, even if they don't get it, because it's as much and certainly enough to them that you no longer have it. And you must be cautious of what you expose to those who are so fast and needy. You must be cautious to whom you let inside. Type 5. Type 5 is a dirty one, and they are everywhere. Yep, I can feel you right now, looking at everyone and seeing what type they might be, all nervous. And while this is not an exhaustive list with honorable mentions like selfish, controlling, or narcissistic, and oh man, I just put that all together to imagine a self-controlling narcissist. Damn, they're out there. The point to all this is we are social creatures and thrive in groups. It's ingrained in our code and powerful when leveraged in our lives. However, if not careful, we can find ourselves being highly influenced by those we keep closest. So for the sake of ourselves, we must guard what we allow to be close. Watch out for the top 5. Change your mind, change your life. I am who I say I am. Do you and stay rich.